Museveni is not omnipotent, is not omniscient, is a person. And despite the ground not being level, yes, we've demonstrated their abilities. I mean, there are times where we're able to prevail, but of course it will take a lot of effort. And therefore, I have been using every election as an opportunity to train people on the processes. So in each of these by-elections, we brought personnel so that they learn the system, because they're going to have to know how they're going to deal with it, perhaps in their own election. So in all these processes, we're building the capacity in order to be able to minimize this issue of rigging. We'll continue. Preparation will continue up to voting, up to counting, up to tallying, up to declaration. You must be vigilant all through those steps. So in this particular instance is that the last election, I did not feel was an opportune time for maybe to launch my bid, because at that time we're coming out of COVID. The rules under the elections were very, I would say, artificial for a UPC type campaign. A UPC campaign has music, has dancing, has people, sharing moments. Not this thing of sitting in a classroom and then you talk as if, it's a seminar. That is not the sort of politics which we do as UPC. So the last election was not opportune, of course, coming out of the COVID era. But this time we've had time to prepare, and we've had time to test some of the preparations which we've been working on. And those tests came out in the by-elections. And from what we have seen, we have had a lot of positive things. Of course, we also know the weaknesses which appear, and those are issues which we're correcting as we go ahead for this election. Now, as far as my own candidature is concerned, I honestly believe, and it's not believe, I know for a fact that the UPC policies which were implemented previously and the UPC policies which we believe in are the best policies to improve the standard of living of the citizens of Uganda, irrespective of where they are and irrespective of their politics. This has been demonstrated. And that's why when UPC boasts about what we've succeeded on, when we talk about schools, you find schools the same quality of school in every part of Uganda. And you would have the same chance to reach whatever goal you're going, wherever you are. That was how the quality of education was. The same as medical services. UPC boasts about hospitals built, clinics built, which are identical across the country. But those are the same institutions which in many cases are being run down and not being run to the needs of the people. Then on the issue of what people like to talk about these days, wealth creation. UPC demonstrated through the cooperatives how to empower the citizens to be able to earn a decent living. If you ask the generation before, everybody knew how the cooperative was able to support them. Also, it supported them when they needed money for issues like fees and other issues. The cooperative was there. Now, of recent, we've had, I would say, like a confession from NRM that the cooperatives were deliberately targeted to reduce the influence of UPC amongst the people. But who suffered most? It's the people. Now, since then, NRM have been trying to find a formula to revive the rural economy. You correct me if I'm wrong. How many formulas have they come with? There was, I think, a Tandikwa. Then there was a plan for modernization of agriculture. Then you had NADS. You had OWC. Now we're trying PDM. And the results are the same. Very few people benefit. Very few people are able to succeed because the whole system is not geared towards actually strengthening the grassroots. That one was undermined in order to undermine UPC. Now, government struggles to do certain things. They also don't have the tools to do some of those things. Now, those are the issues which we're going to be bringing forward. And that's why I believe UPC has the best policy platform which will work for the interests of the citizens of Uganda. And I am merely here as a vessel to articulate those issues. To trying to seek medical services from the same places. Are those services working properly? Those are the questions which I want us to really discuss and to sort out. Let us have a situation whereby things work. Wherever I am in Uganda, if I go to a clinic, I expect certain things to happen. If I go to a hospital, I expect certain services available. That must be available to every citizen of Uganda. That's the conversation I want to have. There are issues where UPC has been accused of, for example, accusing of rigging 1980 elections. I oppose it and I totally disagree. If you say we rigged, prove that we rigged. But every time we now have this in-county election, they throw accusations. Before this election, the President of the Republic, President Museveni, said that 1 million votes were smuggled in the last election. And I've been putting the Electoral Commission under pressure that if the President says 1 million votes have been smuggled in, it's up to you to really to prove to us, both the President to prove that the votes were stolen, but also the Electoral Commission to tell us, is this true? Is it safe? But the Electoral Commission has been quiet. Their argument now has been that they need an official complaint. But this is a complaint coming from a president who has been a candidate for some time. Let us have a way whereby we can have a process, which at the end of the day, we all respect the process. But this conversation as the future of Uganda, I intend to have that conversation. And I honestly believe that the program which UPC has demonstrated in the past and which you're going to demonstrate in the future will give opportunity for young people to be able to thrive in Uganda. And you don't have to be connected to who, so and whatever to be able to access those services. Those services are available to every citizen according to the merit, according to your abilities. So I want to have that conversation. I want us to have that realistic issue. How do we sort out the problems of Uganda? I don't want a situation that to access a state house scholarship, you have to go and know somebody's status, you have to be able to know. No, this should be according to the ability of the student. And the students, everywhere we have bright students. Let us find ways of enhancing those bright students to get an opportunity. Let us find ways of enhancing ways in which Ugandans are doing business to be able to thrive. A lot of the time we're being exploited. The taxes, the taxation system sometimes does not favor those of up and coming. Those are the conversations which I'm going to have as far as 2026 is concerned. It gives me opportunity to move around, to put these things, these questions really, and to challenge the NRM on the policy issues. Often it's a question of accusation and the issue of throwing money, but money does not solve every problem. The money which will be thrown around will be used even before the election is over. That money will be gone. What happens thereafter? What happens for the next 5 years? What happens to young people whose future has been taken away? What is going to happen to them? Is it a lifetime sentence? Those are questions which have to be answered. Those are conversations which we have to have, and we have to make the decision as Uganda.